Higher Education Minister Dr. Nobuhle Nkabane says the National Student Financial Aid Scheme will begin taking online applications from next year, from this coming Friday. Applications were due to open today, but on the weekend, NSFAS said it had to delay the launch. This was to allow for consultations with various stakeholders and a dry run of the system.
Having received a presentation during the stakeholder consultations and having noted the comments received from stakeholders, I am now confident that NSFAS is ready to kickstart the 2025 online application process, which is effective this Friday, the 20th of September 2024. The briefing in this regard will take place in this very same auditorium at the GCIS at 12 o'clock. I am therefore inviting all students who are sitting for their matriculation this year to take this opportunity and apply for either the NSFAS bursary or loan. This invitation is also extended to learners from grade 9, 10, and 11 who would like to enter the technical and vocational education and training sector. We are indeed committed to fulfilling what has been said in the Freedom Charter. I quote, "Doors of learning and culture shall be open," close quote, and will make sure that no one is left behind, especially the children of the working and the poor in all corners of South Africa.
I'm now joined by Vezinhlanhla Simelane, President of the South African Students' Congress. Vezinhlanhla, a very good afternoon to you. Thanks very much for your time. Are you as confident as the Minister that come Friday, all the problems that this application process has had up until now will have been resolved?
Good afternoon to you, good Vuyo, and good afternoon to our listeners at home, our viewers at home. When we listen to the Minister, you have heard that the announcement was supposed to be today on Monday. We met the Minister on Thursday, when they were briefing us in terms of their preparations on the side of NSFAS. When we met the Minister on Thursday, we were not satisfied in terms of the report that we received from their side on the state of readiness in relation to NSFAS. We then had to again meet on Sunday, of which is yesterday. We met on Sunday yesterday, where we had NSFAS giving a proper presentation in terms of their readiness, demonstrating to us the system, how it's going to operate. Is it friendly to our learners at home? Because some of them, they will not be able to understand some of the systems. So it's important for NSFAS to be able to ensure that they create a friendly system. So after yesterday's meeting, we also advised them in terms of the previous challenges, the legacy issues in relation to the appeals, that they must be able to build proper appeals, proper systems for appeals and other issues. So in terms of the presentation we got yesterday, we are confident that as soon as they open applications, everything will go well. But of course, if ever there are challenges that are coming across in the process, we then be able to maybe raise those matters and advise where we think we can. Because yesterday, we advised them thoroughly, especially on issues of legacy issues, that we must pay attention to these matters and all of those things. The question of defunding of students and all of those things. But we don't want to open applications later. There are people who are defunded wrongly, as they've also accepted as NSFAS that indeed some of the challenges in relation to their systems. But through the administration that is there, and of course under the leadership of the new minister, we do believe that there will be some intervention in relation to the issues that exist at NSFAS.
I mean, going into the well, before the weekend, perhaps I should say, I mean, there was talk of employee shortages, and I'll at a later stage get onto that and how it affected the other part of what NSFAS has to do. We heard of problems of poor and ailing IT infrastructure. We've had the what you call the legacy issues. The fact that, I mean, this NSFAS is still under administration. There's no board. Parliament, I think, was told last week that the board will be in place next week. I mean, CEO was fired. It's a situation that doesn't make for the sort of thing that people can easily accept. Now, here's my question. What about the presentation you were given at the weekend made you or gave you the confidence you say you now have, which you didn't have last week?
What happened last week is that when we met with the minister and the head, there was no NSFAS to do a presentation. So it was just the minister and the DGs and other DDGs to give us a presentation in terms of state of readiness. And then, we suggested that because minister might get this report from NSFAS saying that they are ready, as they've always been saying that in the past, that they are ready, they're good to go. But when you go to now the operational issues, you find that there are challenges that we were able to explain to the minister last week, that we appreciate the presentation from your side, but we love to have NSFAS to come to their own presentation, of which they did on Sunday. One of the things that we thought that maybe is going to help us is the demonstration of the application process. How is it going to happen? How a person from my village in Jozini who have not been able to access some of these things, if you open the system, it must speak for itself. You don't have to...
Mind you, I mean, this system has had problems, right? And we are told that the new wave of applications is going to come with new enhancements, it's going to come with several changes, adding onto what was there and problematic.
That's right. The reason why we thought that it's important for NSFAS to come and brief us about their state of readiness is because of the very same challenges that me and you know in relation to NSFAS. So in terms of what the administrator and his team, we are also right when we speak about IT systems there, because some of the things that we also raised in their meeting is the outdated systems in a form of IT systems and all of those things. So we did get a report from the administrator himself that they are up and ready. They've been able to fix some of these challenges. So it's only a matter of time where we are going to see if indeed what he was presenting to us was correct, because some of the guys who were dealing with IT, they were also there to demonstrate in terms of the system and other. Outside the system, Vuyo, there are issues of, for instance, of appeals that we raised that by now we know for sure that there are students who have not been received the report in terms of the appeals process. So in essence, it means that those students who have not been responded to or who are still waiting for NSFAS to give them a decision, it means throughout the year they have not been able to have access to accommodation. They have not been able to have access to food, to book allowance and all of those things. And it does affect their academic program. So we emphasize that we need to have a quicker response, because what we have learned is that people who are dealing with appeals, for instance, it was on a manual basis. So you can imagine if you have over 200,000 appeals and you have fewer people, staff members who are going to deal with those processes. And we said they must be able to give us a proper system, and they gave us confidence that indeed, when it comes to issues of appeals and other matters that relate to NSFAS, they are ready. And we're only going to see if indeed they are ready when it comes to the implementation of the process that they're going to undertake.
Yeah, and it's not only the number you are talking about, just now, with regard to appeals. Remember, there is also the issue of the missing middle, right? Who about 32,000 people who applied for loans in terms of that particular category. All right, only 1,300 or so were approved, and there hasn't been any adequate explanation as to why. So clearly, the system is unable to to handle this.
Actually, Vuyo, I can tell you now that one of the fundamental questions we asked yesterday is that out of people who have applied for loans, how many have you approved? Because we are the one as an organization that we've been campaigning for missing middle to be able to apply for that particular loan. We only realized that yesterday. They said to us they indeed had challenges in relation to the loan process and all of those things. But we did ask again that, are you ready now? Because on the application itself, you can see when you are applying there, it's either you apply for, if you're a SASSA beneficiary, of course, you'll apply for a loan. It also gives you an option to apply for a bursary if your threshold is above 650 per annum from your parents and all of those things. So in terms of the confidence that they gave us yesterday, is that they are indeed ready. But we are correct that today there are people who have not even been assisted in relation to loans. And they did
in fact, even the 1,300 that was approved, also, I mean, even though they have been approved, they still haven't been assisted. They don't have the loans.
That's correct. That's correct, you know. And when we raise these things, maybe to the administrator himself, is that he also said that hence since was appointed to be the administrator, there were challenges that systematically they were there at NSFAS. So he had to deal with other issues of the previous leadership that was unable to do things proper. So somehow he was still dealing with the mess that was left by those who were there before him. So that is why somehow was saying, no, at least let's give you a benefit of the doubt. And of course, in terms of the board, we also need the board by the end of this year. The board must be in place so that we don't. There's not only one person that has the capacity to deal with a variety of issues of NSFAS. We need people who have got expertise, who are going to contribute to the development of NSFAS. Because one of the things that we raised yesterday, by the way, is that NSFAS, we are not supposed to be discussing issues each and every year that relate to NSFAS. Yeah. The appeals, the application processes. If you check 5 years ago, issues are still the same.
Exactly.
So issues are still the same. So we raised that to the minister. The minister, we are appealing to your leadership, since we are now here in the department, to pay close attention to NSFAS, because NSFAS has the potential has the potential of taking back the gains of our democracy. Because we are supposed to be focusing on other matters. There are issues like institutional autonomy, where universities decide on their own to do whatever that they are doing, but we are unable to pay attention to that because of every time we must be able to deal with NSFAS issues.
Vezinhlanhla, we will see what Friday will bring. Thank you very much for your time, but that's where we're going to leave it for today. He's, of course, the president of the South African Congress of Students.